Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Ravelry, Instagram, and now on Goodreads. So if you are a reader, definitely friend me on there. I have been a knitter for a long time now and this is my knitting podcast, so welcome. Here we talk about all of the crafty things that I've done throughout the week, different patterns that I've found. I'm going to share some finished objects, some works in progress, and some things like that. So if that interests you, please stick around. I would love to have you. So good morning, everybody. I don't know if I've said that, but it is Sunday morning and we're in the beginnings of October. And it is rainy here in southeastern Michigan and very cold. So I know that last week, and well, actually for a couple of weeks now, the southeast has been hammered by terrible weather. So if you are down in those parts, my heart goes out to you. I'm very sorry, and I hope that there are no more hurricanes, tornadoes, or anything like that. So I just wanted to say that because it has definitely taken a beating over the last couple of weeks down there. So let's start with admin first because otherwise I will forget. Here I give away a knitting pattern or crochet pattern every week. So in order to enter, all you have to do is just leave a comment down below. And then next week, I will use a random comment picker that I found searching Google, and you just input your video link and it gives you a random comment. So that's how I picked the winners. The rules are that the pattern price must be under $15, and what else? Oh, you can only win once a month. I'm forgetting my own rules. That's terrible. Okay, so I am going to leave a blank spot right here. Okay, and that should be the winner of this week's pattern giveaway. So if that was you, please get in touch with me on either Instagram or Ravelry and just shoot me a message and let me know what pattern that you want. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I thought I had one more admin thing. Oh no, now I can't remember. Oh, what I'm wearing. I guess that's not admin, right? But I didn't want to forget it, so I wanted to put it up front. Okay, this is the Daft Days cardigan, and this is by Rebecca Clow. So I made this. I made it oversized, so it's bigger, and I go from not liking it because it's too big to really liking it on days like this where it's rainy and cold. Anyways, I used my last year's advent from Blackbird Sycamore yarn, and I love the colors and I love everything about it. And it wasn't like my gauge was off on this. I actually made, I can't remember what size, I think 4. So I sized up on purpose. I wanted a bigger cardigan. If I could change anything on it, I think I would just, what I should do is like make the sleeves shorter. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just being picky. I don't know. I do love it though. The yarn is so comfy. And I love the colors on it. Yeah, I should wear it more. Do you know how sometimes you'll make something that you really love and wear it and then fall out of love with it, and then eventually you fall back in love with it? I have issues like that. I hold on to, well, especially hand knits. I hold on to hand knits forever. Well, because they wear so well, right? I don't have issues with like, well, sometimes I might need to darn something, but I don't have issues with like holes being worn through it, or like with t-shirts, how they get faded. Like that stuff doesn't happen with handmade knits, at least not mine. Although I will tell you that my daughter can wear her sweaters to the point of extinction. It takes her a couple of years, but she can definitely do that. Although I think for her, I tend to, well, sometimes I'll stick with like acrylic stuff I can throw in the washer and dryer, and those are the ones that tend to get worn out to extinction. So anyways, I love this pattern. It was a very simple repeat, but I think that it comes out beautifully. And I love the idea of using an advent for it. Part of me thinks maybe I should try this pattern again with my this year's Blackbird Sycamore yarn advent, but I have something to show you in patterns that probably means I won't be doing that, because I ran across Helen's store and she came out with an advent bundle. So I'm going to talk about that later. So, okay. I've talked about my, this was, I think I held this double. Yes, I held the yarn on this double. So it was more of a, like a DK weight yarn. Usually I use fingering. Maybe that's one of the issues that I have. Okay, never mind. I'm going to talk about some hats, because last week I was working on the LotusFlowerBeanie, and I was using, what was I using? Jody Long Glam Haze. So it's multiple fibers. It's got some alpaca, mohair. I'm going to put it down on the screen so that you can take a look at, I believe I'll link to the Ravelry page, and I'll warn you, if I ever put up a link for a Ravelry page, I try to put right next to the QR code whether or not it's Ravelry, so that you'll know before you go to it. But I will link to the yarn page, a yarn page of talking about this yarn and what type it is. So this is the LotusFlowerBeanie, and I really like this. So this yarn is fuzzy, right? You can't really see, but you can see. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But it's so soft. If you guys could feel this, I know that if this is a smaller, like a kid size hat too. So I know that if my daughter felt this hat, she's going to try to steal it. If you can't tell, there are these flower stitches. And so last week I complained about how I shouldn't be using fuzzy yarn for detailed patterns because it doesn't come out, but it kind of does. I mean, I can definitely see it when I hold it up like this. So it is what it is. What did I do after I complained about doing that, right? I cast on another one because I'm like, well, I have 2 halves basically of a skein left. What am I going to do with it? And by the way, I had more than 2 halves because I still have 2 halves. It seems like these skeins are the skeins that never end. So I've got this one too. I basically inverted the colors. So, and I think that you can see the flowers much better on this. Yeah, that definitely comes out better. So I'm thinking maybe for the fuzzier yarns, it's better to use a darker background color. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? I can definitely see it better on there, but that doesn't mean I don't like it here. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard to choose. I feel like sometimes with my knitting, I'll get decision paralysis almost. And I think it's because I have too many options. What I should do is I should start putting like a couple of skeins that I want to use into a bag, closing my eyes and picking one randomly, because I think that that would get me out of my comfort zone, because I could also throw in skeins that maybe I don't want to use, and it would get me out of my comfort zone, and I wouldn't have to worry about what yarn I was choosing because it would be decided by fate. I feel like that would be a good way to get rid of the decision paralysis that I sometimes face, because now I have more of this Jody long yarn, the Glam Haze yarn, and I have like, I believe 2 skeins of each color, and I just don't know what to do with it. Maybe make like a striped hoodie, something that would go over clothes. I mean, it's very soft, but I'm still worried because of like the fuzz that it might get itchy. But it really doesn't seem like it will. I don't know. I've had issues before with alpaca, but the alpaca I've had issues with, I could feel like the pricklies, and there's just none of that here. So this is just very soft yarn. Okay. Anyways, so I worked on the LotusFlowerBeanie after I said, you know, I wasn't going to do it. I started looking at patterns on Ravelry, and I kind of got stuck in a rabbit hole because I was doing advanced searches, and I'm like, okay, I know I have DK weight yarn because the yarn that I've been using is the Scheepjes Scrumptious, which is 50% polyester. It's recycled polyester. It says on their website that it comes from recycled plastic bottles, which I think is kind of cool. Especially if you've had a chance to like feel this yarn, it's super soft. So I don't know what magic they work to take plastic bottles and turn it into this yarn, but it's really cool. Okay, so I went to Ravelry and I'm like, I have DK weight yarn and I want to make some hats. And I would love to make color work because like color work has been my big love right now, my big just obsession. So that's what I looked for. And I found a couple of them. And the one that I cast on first is called the Hanmer hat. And this is from the Black Cat Knitting Company. So here's a picture, but it doesn't matter because I'm showing you the actual color picture. And I really like this hat. And if you can tell from the picture, we've got a double folded brim. So the first thing that I did for this pattern was basically knit 3 inches of twisted ribbing. So, because of course I did, right? I love twisted ribbing, and you guys will have to let me know in the comments down below whether or not you like it, if you prefer the look of twisted ribbing, or if you prefer regular ribbing. And do you guys do 1x1 or 2x2 or like 2x3? I tend to always do 1x1 twisted ribbing unless it's something that specifically calls for 2x2. and then I'll go ahead and do it. But this is the Hanmer hat that I worked on, and this is knit with Scheepjes Scrumptious. And let me fold the brim up so that we can kind of look like how we're supposed to look. But this yarn, it's so soft. Okay, there we go. So this is the hat that I made this week, and I thought that it looked kind of cute. I really liked the idea, and let me hold this picture up. I loved the idea of like the light background color and then the pop color. So I chose purple for this, and I think it came out really well. I definitely will be using this yarn quite a bit, and I think my favorite part of it is that it is washable. So it's acrylic and polyester. You can throw that right in the washing machine, which is perfect. Especially, you know what? That's a good segue. I am going to show you these. And last week, somebody asked if I label the hats that I make to donate. Not donate technically. For my kiddo, his class is doing a fundraiser. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied this morning. So they're doing a fundraiser to raise money for a trip. And I said that I would make some hats and they could sell them and try to get whatever they get for them. So somebody asked in the comments what I do to label my hats. And I have these. So it says, I'm handmade, handle with care. And there's a spot for the materials, a line. And then it has machine wash, tumble dry, and iron instructions. So you can basically just check whichever one is applicable to the hat or whatever else you're gifting. And I find these really useful because otherwise, how would somebody know how to take care of a hat? Especially somebody who's a non-crocheter, non-knitter. They might not realize that you probably shouldn't throw something that was handmade in the washing machine if they don't know that it wasn't made, that it was made with wool, basically. Okay. Sorry, I had to grab my bag. Okay, so I've got my bag and I am going to show you the next one that I cast on. So this is called Hedgies Hat, and this says it's from Meg Roke Knits. So this is the second hat that I decided to work on, and I'm using the Scheepjes Scrumptious, and I am not very far into it. But one thing that stood out to me about this pattern was that you have this colored brim, one color, so I've got a light color right there, and then up here the background color is a dark color, and I like that. So this pattern stood out to me specifically for that reason. So that's what I decided to do. Hang on, let me grab it and I will show it to you. So I chose to go with this dark gray right here for the ribbing. Now the pattern here wanted you to do another folded over brim, and I was like, no thank you, because that's too much twisted ribbing. I might like it, but not that much. So I only did just a plain brim here, which I believe it should be fine. If it's not fine, I will figure it out as I go along. But I'm going to let's look at the picture here. So if this brim wasn't folded, it would still be the same length. So I'm thinking that we're gonna be fine. But you can kind of see, and I showed this to my husband last night and he's like, snowflakes, right? And I'm like, yay, you can tell what it is. So that's a good thing. But this is more of the same scrumptious yarn, and it's so soft. And sometimes, especially right now, I've been loving just working on like the color work charts. And this one is pretty simple. And another cool thing about this, and I will try to insert a picture right here, is that up at the top of the crown, you have a special chart, and it also has color work on it. So I think that that's really cool. I don't know that I've ever done a hat like that. Usually, well, let me think. Maybe once or twice. But usually the hats that I work, stop the color work as you get to the decreases and just decrease at the top. But this one is pretty cool because it's got its own decreases, so its own chart for the crown. Okay, so let's see what else. I'm not going to show you my flax this week because I haven't worked on it at all, which sounds bad. But I've been trying to concentrate like mainly on my voyage. So I'm going to show you that next. And the reason I've been trying to concentrate on it is because I am on the sleeves. And pretty much all of my sweaters are going to be on the sleeves or on the sleeves pretty shortly here. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to kind of put the flax on the back burner for right now. And next week, you might even see the same with the stripy unicorn. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is a sleeve that I finished this week. And there we go. So you can see all of my decreases. So the Voyage is knit in fingering weight yarn. And this color right here is Antique from Blackbird Sycamore yarn. And I love the way that it looks. I think that's so pretty. It looks kind of like sand. But you can see my decreases from the light bulb stitch markers. And I actually did 2 more rounds of decreases than the pattern called for, because as I got down here, it still wasn't tight enough to where I wanted it. So I did 2 more decreases, and then I knit, I believe, 13 rows of, wow, that's an unlucky number. I did 13 rows of twisted ribbing. But it's the same amount as what I did down here and for the button band. But that is the one sleeve that I worked on this week. And last night I started with the other one. So I'm hoping I can get it done, the other sleeve done, because I need to black it and then put the ribbon in to cover up the steeking edges. But I'm excited about it and I love the colors. Especially with this antique right here. I think that it matches really well. See? Yeah, definitely. It's been a knitting adventure to do that because steeking was very new to me. I have never done it before, and now I definitely want to do it again. Oh, see, this is, okay, let's do a segue. This is one of the reasons that bothers me about this cardigan is that the neck hole is so big. And I know that it was my fault because I picked the bigger size. If you stick around long enough to my podcast, you will notice that I tend to pick larger sizes when I'm sizing for myself. And it's because I like my clothes to be baggier. But the one issue that I seem to have with them is the neck. So it's like I want the entire cardigan or sweater to be bigger except the neck part. So I'm wondering, I don't know, let's see. So the neck is knit separately from the button band. Yeah, so I wonder if I can take the ribbing off, and I don't want to pick up too fewer stitches though. I wonder if I could do some decreases or maybe knit it longer. I'd have to see if I have any more of this color, especially if because I'm pretty sure I have more of the color. I just don't know if it'll match this tone. But anyways, the things that go through my head. This is my Stripy unicorn, and I've been having so much fun knitting this. Okay, that's the front. Whenever I pick it up, I always show people the back. But this is where I am, and I've got ribbing down at the bottom. So I really do like these colors. This was knit from an all pink Advent, and then the dark magenta color is from Blackbird Sycamore yarn. And all I have left is the neck and the sleeves on this too. I should really think a bit ahead before I end up on all sleeves again whenever I'm making more than one sweater, because it's hard to stay motivated to want to work on sleeves whenever I have like this on the needles, and this is a lot more fun than knitting sleeves. So I've been getting distracted from the sweaters that I'm working on because I keep thinking, oh hey, I could be knitting color work charts, and those are a lot more fun. But for my Stripy unicorn, I've had a lot of the patterns from Locatelli, and the beginning of it was pretty rough. I had issues with the increases, and there was just something that was kind of a blocker in my brain. It was hard for me to figure out what was supposed to be going on, so I had to draw some charts, which was fine because once I got it and understood it and kind of charted it out, I was good. So, okay. Believe it or not, that's all of my knitting. I feel like I rushed through it, but it is what it is. I don't feel like there's very much I can tell you that I haven't already told you, especially about the Voyage and the Stripy unicorn, because it feels like I've been working on them forever. I'm hoping that by next week I'll have the Voyage ready to block, or hopefully blocked, so I can sew the ribbon in. And then after that, I'm going to concentrate on the Stripy unicorn. I'm not really looking forward to row by row color changes for the sleeves though. That's going to be an interesting one. And then after that, I'm planning on casting on the sea glass cardigan and my Zelda either cardigan or pullover. I haven't decided yet, but those are the two things that are coming. Okay, so it is fall heading into winter. Well, winter's supposed to start like in a couple of months, but we're heading into there, especially where I live in Southeast Michigan, where it is cold-ish already, at least for me. This yesterday and today, it's supposed to be in the 50s, and that's Fahrenheit, so it's too cold for me already. But anyways, the reason I mentioned that, I'm talking about the weather again, is because I've noticed that a lot of the sweaters or pullovers, cardigans that are coming out right now are with heavier weight yarn. So I'm just letting you know that whenever I show you some of these sweaters, I think there's only one that is in sport weight. So it's kind of lightweight, but the rest are going to be either worsted, Aran, or DK. Okay, so I wanted to show you the pattern releases that I got from Tin Can Knits first. So earlier this week, I received a newsletter from Tin Can Knits, and they had 2 new pattern releases. So I'm like, yay, because I really do love their patterns. If you've never tried them, definitely check them out. So the first one that I looked at is actually called the Besties hoodie, and I love this. This is knit in worsted weight yarn. It's not, there we go. So this is basically a pullover hoodie. So instead of the zipper, it's just a pullover. And I thought that this was so cute for kiddos. So this is knit in worsted weight yarn, and the gauge is 18 stitches to 30 rows. So this is the cool thing about Tin Can Knits patterns. The sizes available for this are newborn to 6XL. And that is amazing. So a cool thing about this is that it uses, one of the tags on the Ravelry pattern is for an afterthought pocket. So I thought that was really neat. I love the idea of afterthought pockets or afterthought buttonholes because it's so much easier to have everything done and then be able to position the element exactly where you need it to, and then just snip a stitch and be able to put it in that way. So this pattern in particular is available on their Tin Can Knits app. So if you go download their app, you buy this pattern on Ravelry or wherever, you could link your Ravelry account to their app account, to their app, and then it will show you only the size that you want whenever you're planning the pattern. So I thought that was really cool. So when they released that pattern, they also released something called the Besties Hat. So this actually happens to be in DK weight yarn, and I thought that it was pretty cute. I really like the decreases on top. I hope you can see them. But it is just color blocking. All of these, both the Besties Hat and the Besties Hoodie are just color blocked. And that's pretty neat. So we've got new sizes available are newborn to adult large. And the yarn weight for this is actually DK weight. So it's 23 stitches and 32 rows. And this is also available on their app. Now, I thought that this might be a fun one to do. And I would really like the Besties hoodie too. I would love to make it for my daughter. I love hoodies. So my favorite hoodie pattern that I've ever made knitting wise is called the R&R Hoodie. And I'm gonna put up the information, but one thing that I've done with that hoodie pattern is I've added a zipper to it. So instead of like the Tin Can Knits one where it's a pullover, this one is just open in the front. So what I did with the ones that I made, because like maybe 5 years ago, I made my daughter, my son, and myself one. And instead of just adding buttons, I put a zipper in. And I thought that that was awesome. I've made my daughter a couple of them, and I've made my son a couple of them. I've actually taken that pattern and I've made my daughter a cat hoodie with it. So I use the R&R as a base, and then I put on the hood, I put cat ears and then a cat tail. So she really loves that one, and it's in light pink, so she really, really loves that one. But it's definitely an awesome pattern if you're looking for a hoodie that opens in the front as opposed to one that pulls over. But I know that for my kiddos especially, they would love the pullover one. For me, because I'm in a wheelchair and I'm paralyzed, I don't think I mentioned it this episode. So if you're new here, one of the reasons that I don't like the pullover hoodie is because I'm paralyzed and it's harder to put something like that on. Okay, so also this is also a new release. So this is from Wool & Pine, and this is called the 3-Season Pullover. And isn't that gorgeous? Now, this is a cropped sweater. Yeah, I would say that that's cropped. And it would look so pretty over a dress. I'm loving cables too. I haven't done many cables this year. So this is also done with worsted weight yarn. And it is knit on 4.5, 5, and 6 millimeter needles. It says, if you love the timeless look of the 3-Season cardigan, meet its cozy counterpart, the 3-Season pullover. This V-neck sweater pairs classic cables with the relaxed modern fit, giving you the perfect piece to layer through changing seasons. The cotton-wool blend strikes the ideal balance between warmth and breathability, while thoughtful shaping details ensure a comfortable and flattering fit. With its versatile top-down design, 3-Season pullover brings cozy, effortless style to your wardrobe. That's awesome. Now, what do you guys think? I believe I showed the cardigan. So would you guys go for the cardigan or the pullover? Are you more of a cardigan person or a pullover person? Because I was thinking about this yesterday. I think that I'm more of a cardigan person, especially when I'm leaving the house. I love just having a cardigan to throw over. I love like the big, comfy, cozy cardigans, especially when it's raining or cold. And I just find it so much easier to put those on and to wear them. And I really like the cardigans better. With that being said, I'm going to show you a sweater next. So this is the Stripetastic sweater by Andrea Gaughan. And there are a bunch of different ideas and options to make this sweater. And I remember when she was recruiting test knitters for this, and I was really thinking about doing it, but the problem is that it's in DK weight yarn, and most of my stash is fingering weight. So I didn't have the yarn to test knit this, or else I would have filled out a form to try to get picked to test knit it. So it says it's a classic drop shoulder sweater pattern designed to be the perfect base for a wide variety of striping patterns. Instructions are included for 5 different possibilities, but I encourage you to use your creativity to really make this pattern your own. So it always makes me happy to think about striping things asymmetrically. So whenever I look at this pattern and realize that it's a base to be able to make your own stripes, all I can think about is how I want to asymmetrically like stripe the sleeves, because that's just the kind of thing that I love to do. So the gauge is 21 stitches by 28 rows, and you're going to be using a 4 and a 3.25 millimeter needle. It says the yardage is between 1055 and 2030 yards. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to mention. It says through the end of this month, 20% of each sale of the Stripetastic sweater will be donated to Be Love Asheville to provide critical necessities to meet those affected by the Hurricane Helene disaster. I live in Asheville, and seeing the effects of this hurricane firsthand has been devastating. This organization has been on the front lines doing critical work to help support those who need it most and working towards rebuilding the city. So I thought that that was really neat. 20% of the sale is going to help hurricane disaster victims, because she lives in a city that was affected by them. Okay, so here I am, and I had to mention this. Now, I've said before that I'm not a cowl person, but this is the kind of cowl that I do like. So this is by Hoodie Locatelli, and it is called Selena's Cowl. Now, I know that a little bit ago I showed you guys, I believe it was called Mabel's sweater, Mabel's pullover, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because it was inspired by Only Murders in the Building. And this is also a cowl that's inspired by that show. I've never seen the show, so I have no clue what the references are, but this is the cowl. This is called Selena's Cowl, and where is it? Yes, I love that is the type of cowl that I love. I love the big loops. So I wanted to show this one. This is knit in DK weight yarn, and it says that it uses a diamond stitch pattern. So she is saying that the textured pattern is really fun to make, and it requires a specific technique. But don't worry, I recorded a super easy video sharing it. So the sample was knit in Swanky DK by Magpie Fibers, which is basically an MCN. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. She said that she used around 480 yards. So it's a nice big looped cowl. 480 yards isn't that much yarn. So this is definitely something that you can make with 2 skeins of DK weight yarn that you have. Since it's textured, I would try to use like a tonal or like a semi-solid just so you can see the texture. But there's no rules in knitting. You could use the most variegated yarn you wanted to make this, and I bet it would still turn out amazing. Okay, so I promised that I would show you one sweater that was in lighter weight yarn. So this is the one that I ran across, and the reason I'm showing you this is because it has a deep V-neck. Now, I wouldn't wear this with nothing under it just because it's not something that would... Okay, let's face it, I'm very short, and usually when there's a deep V-neck, like with the hipster tee, because I'm so petite, it goes way too low on me. So basically what I'm saying is I would have to wear something underneath this, or else risk flashing everybody. So this is called the Tempo sweater, And this would be my style right here. I love that. I love like the white t-shirt or white tank top underneath a sweater like that. I think that it looks so pretty. But you can tell with different bodies that some people would need the t-shirt underneath and some people don't. But I think that they're all beautiful. I love that this sweater it comes in, I believe, with some shaping, and it's twisted rib. So that was another reason I thought that was, that I wanted to show you. But I'm sitting here complaining about having to do 3 inches of twisted ribbing. This is a lot more twisted ribbing, right? But I love, this is the hard part. So sweaters or cardigans or anything with ribbing, like all over ribbing, like come in and cling to you and look great. But that's a lot of ribbing. So I guess it is what it is. This is knit in sport weight yarn. The gauge is 16 stitches and 24 rows. So it's 1x3 twisted ribbing on larger needles blocked. The sizes available are 1 through 9. And I don't have... I do not have the inches or centimeters for that. But sizes 1 through 9, and it says that no, it doesn't say that it's just for adults. But I'm assuming if there are 9 sizes that should be a pretty wide range of sizes available for people. It's so pretty. It is rated as petite. Written pattern, worked flat, V-neck. Okay, so it's one of the tags is plus size, so that's good. And it says it has a photo tutorial, adult. Okay, so I guess the 1 through 9 sizes must be adult only. So yeah, that's a pretty wide range of sizes. I'm gonna save the one that I want to show you for last because I was explaining this to my husband yesterday, and I'm just gonna wait till the end for that. So this is a vest, and Barocco sent me this vest in their newsletter, and it's a free pattern, so I thought that it was very pretty and worth showing, especially if you guys like to wear dresses. I think that this would be a really pretty vest to put over a dress. So this is knit in Aran weight yarn. Let me show you the picture. It says, Leonie pairs classic tweed yarn and timeless style with graceful lace in this lovely vest. Equally easy to layer over dresses and button-downs, Leonie will add a sophisticated flourish to a wide range of outfits. So for the sizes available, we've got 36 to 72 inches, which is really good. That's 91.5 to 183 centimeters. So like I said, it's knit in Aran weight yarn, and I am not familiar with Barocco Millstone tweed, but it looks really pretty from the pictures. So I've never been much of a vest person because generally I just put a cardigan over like everything anyways. So, and with me wearing a dress, well, I'm gonna have to wear a dress this winter because I'm going to a special event for one of my kiddos, but I'm generally not a dress person. It's too hard with the wheelchair. Like, I worry about it dragging along everywhere and kind of getting in the way when I'm transferring. But I would wear this. Let's see. So this is a cropped one as well. And I think that if I made this, I would make it longer for me. Maybe. Well, it would end longer, like lower for me. How's that? Because I'm shorter, which I think I would prefer. So I could definitely make it cropped, but when you're as short as I am, I just haven't found cropped stuff very flattering. Okay. Sorry, I have to grab the one I put back. Okay, so I was telling my husband about this last night, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I was mentioning Helen Stewart's pattern release. So I ran across this on Ravelry, and I bought it because every year I've watched people make Helen Stewart's Advent stuff that she's done. Did she do the habitation throw? I think so, and I'm gonna correct myself if I'm wrong, but that was so pretty. And then when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I want to get this because I'm excited and I think it'll be fun. So it says Knitvent Vignette by Helen Stewart. So it says the suggested yarn is Louie and Lola, and it's accessories. So it says this is a placeholder for the first mystery pattern of the Knitvent 2024 collection. The Knitvent 2024 collection is an invitation to embrace the joy of exploration and new beginnings, a time to shake things up, release old expectations and ask ourselves new questions, decide which rituals we truly love and which ones we are ready to let go. It says, how does Knitvent work? Curious Handmade's annual Knitvent collection blends the curiosity and community spirit of a mystery knit-along with the excitement and momentum of a holiday countdown calendar. Each week of Knitvent, a secret knitting pattern or two is revealed. With 6 fresh patterns bundled into one low price, it's a small but well-deserved treat for yourself. A weekly flash of surprise and delight at a time of year that often asks a lot of us. Whether you're adding to your pile of hand knits, present, or freshening up your own handmade wardrobe, you can expect a collection of fun, fast accessory patterns and one grand, irresistible advent calendar designed to showcase 24 mini skeins or use up your cherished stash of yarn scraps. Okay, so that sounds like so much fun. It says each week a secret knitting pattern or two is revealed, with 6 fresh patterns bundled into one low price. So this is on sale until, okay, so it says Knitvent 2024 pre-sales open now at an early bird price of $14.65. So 10-ish pounds. It's 40% off regular price until November 6th. So if this is something that interests you, I would think about getting it before November 6th just because it's 40% off. But I love the idea, and I remember I've seen like her 24 skein patterns in the past, and I've never done this before, so I'm excited and I will be sharing with you guys the patterns, showing you as they're released the patterns that come out for this, because well, if you're like me, you're excited to see what even they are. Accessory patterns are a lot of fun. I love hats and cowls. I mean, the one good thing that I like about cowls is that you can adjust, right? If you like longer cowls, you can make them longer. Generally, I mean, unless they're but even if they were specific color work cowls, you could still make them longer. There's nothing that says you can't. Okay, guys, that's it for this week. I have been talking for a very long time, almost an hour, so I better get going. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye!